I'm making grilled cheese with caramelized onions today. Let's get started. I'll show you how to make it. Turn on your stove to medium heat and then use a very large skillet, the largest one you have, and put in a couple tablespoons of olive oil. And while that heats, we're going to chop the onion. I'm going to cut a couple large onions today. And first of all, you want to get all the papery stuff off. Cut off the ends. And then I'm going to put it on end and cut it in half. So what I want are half slices. So what you're going to do is cut them as thin as you can. I mean, I'm not a professional chef, and most of you are not either. So I can't cut like a professional chef does. You know how they whip through it. And of course, use your largest knife. And this one, yeah, I'm going to leave that the way it is. And then what you're going to do is take these and break them apart into a bowl that you'll take over to the stove. These onions are going to take probably between 30 minutes and 40 minutes to completely cook, to caramelize. That's how long it takes in my pan anyway. And it starts off looking like a lot of onions, but they cook down. So I have one more I have to do here. I already did another one before filming or taping, whatever you want to call it. And then the last one is the thickest. Alright, and then break these apart, put them in a bowl. And next, I'm going to bring these over to the pan. So obviously, you want to start cooking these onions way before you want to serve the meal. And you can even do it ahead of time and refrigerate them. Now the oil is heated. I'm going to take a spatula here and put them in. And obviously it's a lot. This is my largest pan. And obviously this isn't being my largest pan. I can't turn them over. I probably could have used a very large saucepan, which I like to call a Dutch oven, until the Dutch oven Nazis make a comment on my video saying, that's not a Dutch oven. Okay, big soup pan. I could have done that, then it would be easier to stir them. Now here's the thing. You want to stir these about every 5 minutes. Otherwise, they could burn and get too brown too fast. And we don't want that. So, I'm going to come back every 5 minutes and show you what they look like as I'm turning them, alright? That's what we'll do next. Only been 5 minutes, but already they're cooking down. So I want to flip them as much as I can in my skillet. And, yeah. Next time I might make these in the saucepan. Alright. And then I'll set it for another 5. Now we're at the 10-minute mark. Oh, they're getting a little bit burned. I'm going to turn down the heat just a tad, because I want them to get caramelized, but I don't want them to get burned. So if they start to cook a little too fast, you can turn them even more often than 5 minutes. So this is definitely something you want to make while you're in the kitchen doing something else. You pretty much have to babysit it. Alright, we're going to come back in another 5 to see how they're doing. It's been 15 minutes. These are coming along nicely. They're starting to get brown without getting burned, which is good. So this is how they should look at about the 15-minute mark if your pan is working like mine is. And we'll be back in 5. Alright, so what is this, 20 minutes in? getting close. Give it a stir. Getting very, very close. Okay, they're getting browner and browner. Starting to really smell like caramelized onions. And I think they need another 5 minutes. Well, I'm thinking this looks really done, so I'm going to turn the heat off and get to making the grilled cheese next. While the onions were cooking, you could be shredding cheese. Now, the kind of cheese you use depends on what you like. I have some white cheddar here, and it's considered soft white cheddar, not hard. I think it melts a little better, but by grating it, it will just melt better anyway. And then I have another kind here. The store I was at recently didn't have any soft white cheddar, so I bought something else that's kind of like a Munster, but it was called something else. I don't remember what it was called. He's like, that's all this family makes. They make this one kind of cheese. So that was different. So again, you could shred this while the onions are cooking. You can use any shredder you want. If you're making a lot, shredding a lot, you could shred it in your food processor. And get it all out. And there we go. Okay, so now we're ready to put the sandwich together. And I'm actually using small bread today. The bread that I really like for this is sourdough, but I don't have any of that. I actually have some Udi's gluten-free, which means they're really small breads. They're mini breads. But that's what I have, so that's what I'm using. And I have some butter here. Now the butter I have is non-bovine growth hormone, is what it is. And so it's more yellow, and I've noticed that it's more cold. And I had just set it on the stove while the onions were cooking, just so it would soften a little bit, because in my house, it just... Okay, so it's spreading a lot better. So we're going to butter 2 sides of the bread. So this bread, I actually brought the pan over, and I'm going to actually stick it in the pan. And then I'm going to do cheese. And if I get any cheese in the pan, I'm going to pick it back up and put it in the sandwich, because we don't want cheese burning in the pan. The pan is cool. So after putting on a layer of cheese, then I have some onions. Caramelized onions. Okay. And it's harder with small bread. It's easier with big bread. My dog thinks there's something here for her, but there isn't. She's at my feet. And then a little more cheese. Can you see this? Yes, you can. So a little more cheese on top. All right. And I'm going to pick up the cheese that fell off to the side, so I don't have cheese in the pan. And then with my second piece of bread, I'm going to butter that. Okay. Soft butter is best. My dog, she's just about to bark at me. No barking, puppy dog. All right, and now I'm ready to put it on the stove. I'm going to heat the burner not too high, so we don't want this to burn. We want the cheese to melt, so it's kind of medium-low. I'm just going to set it on there and let that toast. And once we see it melting, and we'll check the bottom gingerly, and then we'll flip it over, which isn't easy. It's been a few minutes, and I can tell from peeking at the bottom that it's getting nice and golden underneath. So here's the tricky part. Flipping it. Without it completely coming apart. And now you can smash it down a little bit. Doesn't need to be much. The goal is to get a nice toastiness on both sides and for all the cheese to melt. So again, if you like cheeses that are a little harder, grating them is such a good way to make sure that they melt properly. So we'll check back in another minute or two. Okay, I think I walked away for too long, so we're ready to plate this up. So that's the grilled cheese with the caramelized onions. If you want, you can cut it in half. This is a small piece of bread, so I probably don't need to. And of course, this is great with eating some salsa on the side. A delicious, quick grilled cheese.